Alrighty, to our automotive enthusiast friends from all over the planet Earth, quarantined or not, it is time for yet another...
A formidable episode of V8 Radio, Kevin.
Formidable.
Amen.
That's a heck of an overselling adjective. What is that? In this case, what does formidable even mean?
It means extremely impressive in strength.
Oh, wow, right on. Well, that's strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that one. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, right on. Well, if you ever heard this show before, my name is Kevin Ostie. I'm your host, and we're joined, as always, by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Huball Clark. And we tend to start this show off with some sort of an automotive trivia question. And these have ranged all over the place. They've talked about different types of cars, different types of inventions and regulations and other stuff. Mike, have you come up with a trivia question for this particular episode?
As a matter of fact, I have, Kevin. And here we go. All right, Kevin, I'm going to ask you and our listeners, how did the Coyote engine get its name?
That's a great question. We're talking, of course, about the Ford 5.0.
Yes. And before you go on, I have to give credit where credit's due on this question. And I got this question from a listener by the name of Mr. Alex Gerhardt. He reached out to me and he says, "Hey, give him that question."
Did he really?
He did. Honest to God. So thank you, Alex.
Wasn't his specific instructions not to share trivia questions?
Yes, it was. And he did it anyway.
Oh, man. I was, we were going to throw a little shout out to Mr. Alex Gerhardt on this episode and show some support for a loyal listener. All right, time for a little backstory here.
All right.
Well, we'll get to this after your trivia question.
Okay.
We don't want to keep them hanging.
Fair enough.
All right. So how did the Coyote motor get its nickname? I don't really know. The last I know is that there's a Coyote. There's also a Roadrunner version of that engine. I think the Boss 302 Ford Mustang, which was a more advanced, higher power version of the Coyote. Different intake, all that kind of stuff, was called the Roadrunner. So there's something there. That's all I can give you. It's a throwback to, of course, Looney Tunes and the Roadrunner and the Coyote chasing each other around.
Okay.
And it's got to have more to do internally, because of course the Roadrunner was a Plymouth and the cartoon. But so I don't really know, and
wow,
I'm quite honestly half stunned by where this came from.
Oh, man. Did you hear that, Alex? Oh, my goodness. That's awesome. So Kevin says it's a throwback to Looney Tunes.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's got something internally. I don't know. Because the platform is, I don't even know what the heck it's. What's the name of that current Mustang platform, or the one that it came out in? It was.
I don't know.
Fox body, then it was SN95, and then it was the S197, I believe. So, yeah, I'm
all good trivia questions you're wasting.
Oh, right. Well, don't worry, I'll call Alex and we'll ask him. All right, that's my guess. There's a guess in there somewhere. I don't know.
Something internal, or it's throwback to Looney Tunes and the Roadrunner. Okay. All right. Duly noted.
Yeah, all right. Hope you're happy. So I came up with a trivia question.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
I didn't have to lean on a listener for this one.
Well, you know what? I'm a man of the people. I want to give the listeners their due.
Oh, he'll get his.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I got to remember what it was. Oh, okay, here you go. So this is kind of a car show thing.
All right.
What current auto part that you can buy today has one dimension in the metric system and the other in the SAE standard unit?
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm,
All right.
mm-hmm.
That is what okay, an auto part.
You want to call Alex?
um I know what it is.
Mm,
It's a tire.
a tire.
A tire. A tire is measured in the width is measured in millimeters and the diameter is measured in inches.
Huh.
A tire.
A tire.
Yes, sir.
Is that your final
That's
answer?
my final answer. Duly note that one.
I did duly note it. I wrote it down.
All right.
I typed it in so that I don't forget it. All right, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm great with that.
All right, now back to our friend Alex over here. So I'm kind of inadvertently giving him a hard time. Alex Gerhardt is a loyal listener. He's a cool guy. He's got a 73 Cougar that him and his dad have been working on.
Yeah.
And he also has a current Mustang, blue
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And he's posted comments on the Facebook page before, and we've chatted about different things. He's also a Marantz enthusiast.
Is he?
Yep, and he digs, 70s and 80s rock and roll.
Oh,
And
man.
it's funny because he's been called a boomer before, but he's in his early 20s. So he just kind of
Nice. Okay, boomer.
That's right. So he's just kind of a man in the wrong decade. But
Yeah.
no, that's cool. And so one day there was a Facebook exchange, and I don't ever remember how it started. But at one point, the trivia question was brought up, and I specifically said, "Don't share that with Mike." And then that's what he does.
It was that question?
It wasn't that question,
Oh, but it was a question. Okay.
Yeah, it was a question. I could find it, but
I gotcha. Oh, man.
that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, we wish Alex and his dad the best of luck working on that Cougar. It's a 73 Cougar
Yeah.
convertible, black with a white top.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He shared a few pictures of that with me and some of the work that they're doing on it. And it's a nice looking car. Really, really pretty. They're redoing the front end, the mechanicals of the front end at this point. Like, control arms and springs and shocks and bushings and control arms, all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's a nice car.
Is that a 302 car or a 351?
He didn't say, and I'm not sure.
That'll be next week's trivia question.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, it's nice. We hear a lot of nice stuff from a lot of listeners, but Alex has been around for a while, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate the question.
Yeah, I know you do.
This is the first time I ever heard you say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I said that. I'm an honest guy.
No, but usually you're able to kind of diagram it out and kind of figure it out as you go along.
Yeah, but some of those terms you cannot, you know it or you don't.
Right.
It's one of those things.
That's
It's
a good
like some it's like Fratzog. Can you figure
yeah.
out how you couldn't figure out
No way.
how to land on Fratzog. You either know it or you don't.
That's a good point. All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's just kind of how I thought that went.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex occasionally posts a picture of himself chilling out in the garage. Feet up in the air. You see the Mustang in the background, the Cougar in the driveway, maybe a cold beverage.
Nice.
And he shares what he's listening to, and it made me think. We're in a weird time right now. We've talked about this last time about the insane COVID-19 virus and the fact that it's putting a lot of people on lockdown as we record this. And I'm seeing what is pretty cool. I think a lot of people are spending more time in their garage.
Yes, they are. I should be one of them, but I have not.
I am more so on a, it's nice. I can call this a self quarantine now. It's my excuse to go hang out in the garage. I kind of have to do
You're saving the world.
My civic duty. Right. Exactly. But I enjoy my garage time quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was starting to think about some of the things that I would like to do to this garage and thought maybe we throw that out there as a topic, maybe like some top 5 things that you'd like to do or have plans for or whatnot.
I'm down with that. I have a few items.
More than the top five?
More than the top five.
Well, so if you have a lot, why don't you go first? What's number five?
Number 5 would be better lighting in my garage.
Better lighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
And that one's not that hard to do these days. I'm very fortunate that I have a garage that was finished off when we bought the house. So the walls were, I mean, it's all drywalled and painted, and it's nice in here. I take it for granted, but I'm very fortunate. And it had 4-foot fluorescent fixtures in the ceiling, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And a couple of years ago, I switched the fluorescents out for LEDs.
Mm.
It's
Big
wonderful.
difference?
Huge difference.
Really?
Yeah.
You can just there's like a real replacement bulb that you can put in place. There's nothing special you have to do to the fixture.
Not a thing.
Ooh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it was not expensive, and it didn't take very long, and it was a chance to take the diffusers down and clean the dead bugs out and all that stuff. Because previously I had done what you were suggesting. I had put new ballasts in them, and you'd have a flickering bulb and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
These, they don't require any of that, so you just pop the old bulbs on, put the new ones in, and they rock.
Right on.
I recommend that.
All right, cool.
One thing you got to watch out for is color temperature.
Oh, right. You want to be consistent and have the right temperature.
Yeah, not only consistent, but you also want a good color temperature.
Right.
So you want to stay away from the soft white kind of stuff, which is a yellower light, the lower Kelvin
the
color temperature.
Scale, yeah.
So you don't want like a 3,000. You want as high up as you can get it. So I think these are 7K that I've got.
Oh, cool.
6,500 or 7K. So they're kind of a nice white bluish.
Yeah, I like that
line.
look.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks. Yeah, I just have the single bulb in the ceiling. My garage was all finished when I moved in. The ceilings and the walls were all drywalled and painted, but it just had the single bulb in the ceiling plus whatever the garage door opener had. And I have, and I'm ashamed of myself. I have about six or eight 4-foot 4 bulb fixtures that I grabbed from my old office when they were switching those out for LED fixtures, and the construction guys let me take them home, and I have them sitting in my basement, and I just haven't got myself to run the power because I want to run them on a separate circuit, run the power from my fuse box into the garage and set everything up, and I just I'm such a procrastinator. It's the worst, my worst habit in the world.
Well, there's always something to do when you've got a family and job, all the rest of it. Here's a trick I'll share that I also did. So on the garage door opener, you've got that, I think it's called an E series, just your regular screw-in light bulb base.
Yes.
When you hit the button, the light comes on.
Yes.
And that's usually, a kind of a crappy light bulb. So what I did there is I got an adapter that makes that an outlet. And then I bought a 4-foot twin LED strip shop light, like a workbench light.
Okay.
And plugged that in, and then hung that right above the door opener. So now when you hit the garage door, you don't have a little peon light bulb. You've got this LED strip that lights up, and that's what's on right now. You can see here in my garage.
You have good lighting.
Yeah, and that's just one of those twin strip 4-foot LED.
I'm going to need you to be selfish,
lights.
And I'm going to need you to pan your camera over so I can see that, please,
right.
If you don't mind. So, I apologize, listeners. Oh, wow, that's pretty great.
Yeah. See that?
Yeah, that's really bright.
And that thing was like, I don't know, $18 or something at my local farm supply, my local Rural King store.
Amen. All right.
You can get one on Amazon probably.
Mm-hmm.
If they're still delivering non-toilet paper items these days, I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's on a chain, so a chain, not only a chain that it's hung by, but it's a chain pull fixture to turn it on and off.
Oh, right on.
So you just turn it on and plug the thing into that little adapter, coil up the cord, hang it from the ceiling. It's hung from the same structure that hangs the garage door opener. and there you go. And everybody will appreciate that when you're coming home at night and you hit the door, the garage lights up enough to where you can actually
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, that would be
Your wife
nice.
will like that. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, groovy. All right. Well, that was good. What's your number 5?
My number 5 would be more heat.
More heat. Okay.
Yes. I'm lucky once again. This is an insulated garage, so the door is not the big door, but
Right.
I've been using a 30,000 BTU blowtorch heater that my friend Paul and I bought in 1989, and we split it from the store that eventually became Home Depot. It wasn't even a Home Depot at the time. I think it
Wow.
was a Courtesy Home Center, I think it was called.
wow.
Courtesy Home Center. And it was like $130 or something back then. And we both were trying to work on stuff in our home garages. And we lived a few blocks apart. So he'd it's like the science project. He'd have it for a few days, and then I'd have it for a few days. And finally, in college, he moved away, and he's like, "Here, you can have this thing." Or at least that's the way I remember it. And
Paul says none of that happened.
right, exactly. But it's just a kerosene blowtorch thing, and it works all right. But this place does. It would be far nicer if it was warmer in here in the wintertime. And I did notice, and maybe I'll throw this out there to any of our listeners who might be HVAC savvy, but this garage does have a heat vent plumbed into the central air heat system of the house.
Really?
On the one wall, yeah. And it's down low, and it's just a little register vent that you can open up. And I have it taped off because I didn't want the garage. I didn't want it heating this garage unnecessarily if I wasn't, using it.
Yeah.
But just the other day, I was thinking, the way an HVAC system works, there's a thermostat in the house, and the furnace tries to make that thermostat happy.
Correct.
So if you have the thermostat set at 70 degrees, or in my case, like 58, the furnace will run until that stat senses that. So that thermostat has no idea what's happening out here in the garage.
Exactly.
So if I opened up that register vent, the heat would just be going along. The garage would be going along for the ride. It would just be. What it would do, I believe, though, is take longer to heat the rest of the house because we essentially have a leak in the system.
Right.
We're just leaking some of that heat into the garage.
That's correct. You wouldn't have as high a flow rate in the other registers as you would if it were closed off.
Yeah. So if it took 10 minutes to bring the house up 5 degrees, it might take 12 or 15 or something. I don't know. And then to maintain that hysteresis, how about that?
Whoa. I need to stop right now.
That's a good word for you.
Nice.
Which is the difference between on and off.
Mm-hmm.
It might take a little longer, burn a little more fuel. But, if I really wanted to, I could do the math and say, well, if I'm going to work out here on a Friday night or something, I could flip that vent open Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it would who knows? It could be 20 degrees warmer in here.
Right.
Just for that day.
You could also, and I don't know if you already do that, but close all the vents on the second floor of your house. So there you're not blowing heat in there. So it mostly focuses on the main floor in your garage.
That's a great idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because our second floor is primarily storage.
Right. Exactly. And my hotel room when I stay there.
Right. Yeah, of course. Well, then we make sure that all the vents are closed.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want this guy staying any longer than he has to.
Well, a long time ago, that's where the V8 TV edit bay used to be, in a second bedroom upstairs. Mm-hmm. And I was editing television episodes of V8 TV in July, August, and it was 105 degrees outside, and my poor AC system is to the max, and I turned like every vent off in the house except for the ones in that room.
Yeah.
Because I'm surrounded by computers, and there's 3 walls of sun load and the roof and everything. And what I failed to recognize is that by the time I finally got comfortable, that thermostat downstairs is still hot. So it's calling for more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm running the AC nonstop, and it was like, oh man, this is not good.
No.
So it was nice to be able to move out, and the windows are crank outs, so you couldn't put like a window shaker air
Oh.
conditioner in that unit.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, here in the garage, a couple of years ago, I was fortunate enough. My lovely wife bought me an air conditioner for the garage. So
Right.
I'm
With a
covered there.
remote control, no less.
That is correct.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. I thought it just turns on over here. 'cause
Right.
That's where the
Yeah.
remote
Shut
is.
your mouth.
That was kind of surprising. It was an anniversary gift.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, I didn't quite know how to take that at first.
I get it.
It's like, happy anniversary. Go out there and
Get
stay
out the
there.
garage.
Yeah. But it's all good. In fact, she's listening to one of our episodes right now. So
Oh, right on. Well,
She
thank you, Kelly.
appreciates the fruits of the air conditioner, so to speak. So
That's brilliant.
all right, so that's my number 5. What's your number 4?
Oh, to have better storage and better organization in that garage. You've seen it recently, and you know how badly I need that.
Well, I mean, your garage is a working home garage for a family with kids and stuff.
It is, and I appreciate you trying to let me off the hook, but I'm not going to let you let me off the hook. It's a shambles in there. It's horrifying, and I'm ashamed of myself. And if I put it out there, it's going to force me to do something about it.
Well, the only thing that I would say is not in your favor defending that space is the fact that you have a basement.
Yeah, you should see that too.
Yeah, I don't have a basement.
Yeah.
Our house is on a crawl space, so you could at least maybe put some of that stuff in your basement.
I could. Well, the ultimate goal for that is to get that basement cleared out so I could finish it. So it's a full unfinished basement, and that I would love to make it livable space, but there's just I don't know how on earth I accumulated so much nonsense and so much stuff in my life.
Yeah. Well, and it's not all yours.
No, it's not all mine.
Yeah.
But still, it's ugh.
And that's one of those one room at a time projects, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And you're playing, what was the tile game where you shuffle them all around and they make a word. It's almost like Tetris.
You're right. Right, exactly.
You just got to shuffle everything into one room while you redo one and then move it all. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to put everything, like rent one of those pods, put it in my driveway, shove it full of everything, and have them wheel it off. And I don't care where it goes.
Well, it's not a bad quarantine project.
Yeah, right? Right?
Because you're stuck at home now for a little while.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do you have in mind, or do you have something in mind for storage in the garage?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to have some. Right now, I have my to paint the picture. I made GTO in there, and to the left of it is where my toolbox is, and above that, there's maybe 2 feet of space, and then there's just full length shelves that I built that have all kinds of like holiday storage and things like that. But beneath those, there's really nothing to organize that stuff. I have one like a portable shelf unit, but I want more like wall-to-wall cabinets that I can have doors on it and open it and put stuff on. Stuff that's on those shelves I can maybe put in those cabinets, so it's kind of out of sight and just has a better look to it.
Yeah. Definitely something to that.
Yeah.
Have you? Does your garage have attic space?
No.
Or does it go into like somebody's bedroom?
The master bedroom is right above it.
Gotcha. That's one thing I'm lucky too. I have an attic over the garage.
That's nice.
But we don't really have much of an attic in the house, at
Right.
least not that we've ever really used. So, coincidentally, my number 4 is also more storage.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right on.
And organization. And I kind of got a start on it a couple of years ago. When we moved in, there was a floor-to-ceiling shelf unit already in place that they left. And then there was kind of a weird 4x8 shelf that was about 4.5 feet off the ground. And it provided a big space underneath it and a big space over it. And I think they put like, again, holiday stuff on top,
Right.
and then maybe bicycles and bigger things underneath.
I got you.
And one day I just got the wild hair to reverse the orientation of those. And I put the floor to ceiling shelf unit against the far wall, and then I cut down the 4x8 unit and just made that my workbench.
Oh, cool.
I just shortened it. And then for a work surface, it was plywood, and I'm not a fan of plywood worktops.
Sure.
So today it has 89-cent linoleum floor tile squares.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I just got a little tub of glue and a handful of squares at the local Home Depot or whatever.
Cheap and easy. I like it.
Yeah, and they're white, so they're bright.
Uh-huh.
It's easy to see. And now I'm thinking it might be a little too big on the 4-foot dimension. I think I might need to, because I can barely like reach into the cabinets that are against the wall.
Oh, I see. So it's 4 feet from the wall. 4 feet out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually deeper than that because my garage footing is on cinder blocks.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that they used for the footing, and it's concrete, between that. But the cinder blocks are essentially they project inward from the wall.
Oh, right.
A few inches because
Sure.
the wall is set on top of those.
Right.
So when I went to shove my bench against the wall, it bumped into the cinder blocks. So now there's a few more inches. So I had to make a little connector shelf so that things didn't go off the backside.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it works all right. And I hung some cabinets on the wall, but some Gladiator steel ones. And the trick there is Amazon every once in a while has a sale on those things.
Oh, cool.
So I think they were like $140 local, and I got them for like $89 a piece.
Wow.
I mean, it was a good sale.
Yeah, right on. Cool.
So that helped with the storage, and then above the workbench, I've got the Gladiators are, I don't know, they're 30 wide and 32 high or something. And you can configure them to have like no shelves inside or one or two. They come with a couple of slats, steel shelves. And I only wanted one shelf in there because I wanted it high enough to put a book or a tall bottle or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up with 2 extra steel powder coated shelves that match because they came out of that unit.
Oh, right.
Out of the extra units. And I ended up making a connector shelf between my 2 Gladiator units, which now holds my Marantz receiver.
Yeah.
And then an open spot above that for a television screen that fits, precisely in there. So
that's perfect.
It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, man.
So I didn't have to buy that shelf or anything. It was all extra material.
Yeah, I dig your garage setup. It's pretty nice.
Well, thank you.
You bet. Yeah,
and then above that happens to be a liquor store sign, when they used to have interchangeable letters and they would have the beer specials that you and I and Paul actually discovered at a pawn shop.
That's right.
And it was like $10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a light, so we mounted that up above there. The funny thing is I went back and there was 3 of them. I went back and bought the other 2 and sold them for $50 a piece.
Right on
eBay. So I made money on that for once.
You did. That's sweet. Well played, sir. Well played. All right. So my oh no, your number 4 was also better storage. Okay, so
yeah, but I am kind of torn. So Sarge at our shop at V8 Speed and Resto is a shelf making machine.
Is he?
I mean, this guy makes wooden storage like you would not believe, and it goes back to his Air Force career of being a loadmaster.
Mm-hmm.
He was storing and crating and containerizing and palletizing. I learned that's a word from him.
It is.
Palletizing everything in the world. So he's got a full-time table saw set up and fasteners and screw guns and everything in a section of our shop. I mean, that's all he does. And that's not all he does, but that space, it's all it's really used for is him creating storage solutions.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I asked him if there was any way that I could, bribe him into coming over for a weekend and have him help me remake some of these shelves. And one of the things that he does that I think is kind of cool the wooden structures, instead of making the vertical uprights at the perimeter,
Mm-hmm.
the vertical uprights will be on the backside, and then they might be like 75% of the way forward,
Okay.
and then attached to the shelf. So what protrudes out is like 20% of the shelf,
I gotcha.
and it allows you to see clearer what's on the shelves. And
Ah,
the shelf is almost cantilevered into the room a little bit, and it just looks a little bit lighter,
I
than
gotcha.
4 perimeter posts. And it allows you to get things on and off a little bit easier. There's
Mhm.
probably some more reasons why he does that too, but I thought those were kind of cool. So I'd like to maybe remake mine. Some of the bigger ones, I'm not sure that I would want doors on,
Mm-hmm.
only because it starts to close the room in.
I gotcha.
You've
Yeah.
got these room getting smaller, but then you don't want to see the stuff either.
Right. I don't want it to
So
look cluttered.
right. So I was actually kind of thinking of like a shower curtain type idea.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe just some kind of white or gray or whatever color
Mhm.
accent, and then you can just wing the thing open when you want to get to your stuff, and then you can pull it back, and then
That's not bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's 2 good garage tips now.
You're an idea man. I like it.
Every once in a while. All right, on to number 3.
Number 3. I would love to have a sandblasting cabinet in my garage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That would be so cool. Because every so often I think, man, I would just love to blast this part or something to clean it off. And I can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
But-
know the feeling.
Yeah, but that's any well-equipped garage. If somebody has a real working garage, I think they should have that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like having a pickup truck. You're going to meet all kinds of new friends.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you have a sandblaster in the garage, there are people going to be coming for miles around to use it.
That's okay. I'm happy with the barter system.
Right on. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't have a sandblast cabinet. I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of them at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So some of my needs are a little bit different because I do have some access. And yeah, and you know what's funny is today we try not to sandblast anything.
Is
We
that
try
right?
to outsource that stuff because we're lucky enough to have a local blast resource. And this guy will come and pick up whatever we have, haul it off, blast it, and bring it all back. And then our guys aren't standing there sandblasting, which is good. And it's fun. I've learned it's fun for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, okay, I wish this would go faster. I wish I had like a
That's true.
super blaster of some sort. But in your case, when it's your car, your stuff, your little parts, it's cool. It's nice. It's kind of satisfying too to
True.
clean stuff up like that.
Yeah, it kind of satisfies that do-it-yourself need for some of the stuff.
I do have a tumbler in my garage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was another pawn shop score. I don't think they knew what it was. It
Really?
was sitting on the shelves, brand new, and it's full of tumbling media. And I think I paid $10 for it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Have you used it?
I have used it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the tumbler's nice because you don't have to stand there. You just throw the stuff in and plug it in and walk away.
That's a great point.
And you come home at the end of the day and your parts are clean.
It's like the crock pot of blasting.
Right, yes. the crock pot of corrosion removal.
Exactly.
Yeah, very nice.
Set it, forget it.
That's it. Just don't burn the house down.
Amen.
Okay, so
What's
my
your number 3?
My number 3, I think at this point, I'm to the point where I put a couple of different things in number 3 because they'll kind of go together. But it really falls under decor, paint, and neon is my number 3.
Yeah.
Because these days, my garage is it does more duty for me as a recreational spot than a work spot.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do a decent amount of work out here, but at the same time, I've got music and it's got a man cave component for sure. Mm-hmm. And sometimes my neighbor will come over and we'll have a beer and listen to music and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple years ago, you remember this story well. You're part of it. I was at a in a shopping mall at this store that sells barware and
Mm.
restaurant stuff, and they had this vintage old style beer sign on the wall. And the old style beer logo to me has always been kind of cool. I grew up in the Chicago area, so they were everywhere. My dad drank that beer, but also it's red, white, and blue, right? Which are my colors. I think
Mm.
it's cool. So they wanted they wanted like 350
Right.
$350 for it.
Yeah.
And I remember I sent you a picture of it, and I was starting to shake. I'm like, oh man, I'd really like to have this, but it's $350. And our esteemed co-host here provided some moral support as well as being the little devil on my shoulder. And he's like, "You're sending me back. Well, you need this. You need
this.
you need to have this. So go back and make him an offer. Tell him you give him $200 for it." So I went back and offered him 150
Mhm.
because where I live, nobody drinks old style beer.
Right.
This is the home of Budweiser beer,
Yeah.
close to our house and our shop. So who would want this thing? So they didn't take the 150, but I think I got it for 2.25 or something.
So it's a bargain.
It was a bargain.
Yeah.
And it's a weird one. It's from an ad campaign from like 84, 85. Their Reach for the Best ad campaign, which came and went. So it's not like the more popular ones.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but I think it's cool. And I brought it home and put it on top of one of the cabinets and lit it up. And I really dig, what it does for this room.
Sure.
And I also have a Wyand neon clock,
Mhm.
that I got from those guys. And so some more vintage, automotive themed neon would be cool. Or,
Yeah.
maybe some more red, white, and blue kind of stuff. Or,
I can get on board with that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
So-
like a cool one of those round automotive service signs like Ford Service or Chevrolet Service.
Yeah, I
you'd
think
see.
the big ones for me is, not to be that guy, but I really dig the authentic vintage ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I do too.
Because you can get anything in the world now, but it's made in China, and they're
Yeah.
cool, but it didn't exist somewhere.
Right. It wasn't
You know.
functional in a real dealership shop
Right.
at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something that also kind of put me over the edge is in the Brothers Collection Museum, they have neons that are, I mean, truly authentic exterior dealer neon
Mhm.
signs from dealers from long ago. I can't even begin to tell you what the value of their neon collection alone would be.
Oh yeah.
One of the pieces you saw in our episode where we did this giant burnout in the building with a 65 Impala SS convertible. It's a Chevrolet sign, and that thing's got to be 26 feet long. I mean, it's huge.
Whiz.
Yeah. So I can't do anything like that, but some of the animated neons are neat because they've got relays in them and stuff. So when they change colors and for example, one that says used cars, where the used lights up and then cars, it goes back and forth, and that clicks, between because of the relay.
Right.
You
There's nothing solid state in there. It's all mechanical relays.
No,
Yeah.
right. And I'll tell you, as stupid as it sounds, but to me, one of the ultimate neon signs is the Holiday Inn hotel sign.
Is that right?
Yeah, I love that thing. It's called the Great Sign, is what the name of it was.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like 2 stories high. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
And it had a green background for the words Holiday Inn. It's got this yellow arrow that points towards the hotel. And then there's incandescent light bulbs that were colored that flashed in sequence, and it made the arrow come to life and point inward. And on top, it had this giant star, and the star had radiating colors. And the star was made of probably 4 or 5 like cookie cutter stars, so a smaller one, then a bigger and a bigger and a bigger.
Right.
And those would flash in sequence. Those were white neon. And I just remember going down the highway as a kid. Whenever we'd see that's where my family would stay on our way to a vacation. We didn't take many, but there was a few vacations, and we always looked for that sign. You'd see it 10 miles down the road,
Yeah, man.
And when Holiday Inn in the 90s changed their image, they took them all down and they're all gone.
Yeah, I don't think your neighbors would mind too much if you had one of those in your front yard.
Ooh, I was actually thinking the backyard, but the front.
Yeah,
that would
I
be
think
where
they'd be
it's
okay
at.
with that. I mean, I mean, I know some of your neighbors are pretty cool people. They're pretty laid back.
My neighbor Rick and his
Yeah.
wife Linda would dig it. I know that.
Yeah.
The rest of them.
Well, he's got a front end of a motorcycle as his mailbox.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He'd dig it.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I'm not so sure about. So the Henry Ford Museum has a small version of the Holiday Inn sign that's probably 6 feet high, 4 to 6
right?
feet high. Yeah, and somebody made that as a, I don't know if it was just kind of a tribute, but today you can get these neon rope lights. And they're not like the LED ones where they're individual dots strung along.
Right.
They actually look like neon. The whole strip glows.
Really? Huh.
And I was kind of thinking about maybe building a small one of those and hanging it on the wall, make my own little Holiday Inn sign.
That would be pretty dope.
What I would need to do, though,
Yeah.
is find a programmer that could make the LEDs flash in sequence, the way that make some kind of a controller for it. But I think that'd be pretty cool.
If we got any programmers out there, give Kevin a call.
We need HVAC guys and programmers.
Yeah. We're going to get some stuff done here, man.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so that's my number 3 is I want to repaint in here. I'm not so sure about color, but get some more signage and cool stuff on the walls.
Cool. All right. So then that leads me to my number 2. And this is also another functional garage want, but I'd love to have a nice air system in here where there's some periodic air drops in there rather than having to drag my air hose all over the garage if I'm trying to do something. I can just plug in, like if I'm working on my wife's car, I can just plug in right next to it and do stuff.
Totally. Yeah. Once you have a decent air system in a garage, you never know how you existed without it.
Right.
And that's, again, that's another great sale and pawn shop item. My current garage compressor came from a pawn shop one day.
Is that right?
Yeah. And it's a vertical. It's not huge. I don't know if it's 80 gallons or something. It's good enough for tools, that I'm using in here. One thing I would like to do is move it upstairs into the attic
cool.
part so that I don't hear it. Because it's a buzzer, it's not a chugger. But yeah, and I remember the first time I did an air system was in my parents' garage when I was painting cars when I got out of high school. And I did a whole 1/2-inch copper air, drops and dryers and drains and regulators and the whole thing. It was great. It was awesome. And it's a fun project, soldering those things together. Today you can get those cool compression fittings.
Right. Yeah. On like composite air tubes, almost like what's that plumbing called?
PEX.
PEX. Thank you. PEX.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can use PEX for an air system, or if it's the right kind. But I think there is some similar air tubing that's like PEX. That's like compression fitting. Equipped.
There's another one in our old shop at the farm when we first started. We used Ingersoll Rand's extruded aluminum tubing.
Is that right?
Which is killer. Yeah,
is that right?
It's expensive, but it was really nice because it never corrodes inside there. Which your PEX or your plastics don't either. But it had a higher burst strength and safety factor if you bumped into it. But it had a similar compression type fitting that you can quick release and change around. And that is a fun project. You got to run them. You got to think about that one as you lay it out.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely requires a lot of forethought.
Yeah,
because once it's there, that's where your compressor is, pretty much.
Right, and you got to make sure that everything kind of pitches downward.
Oh yeah, so water condensation will run into a drain.
Yeah.
I see.
And your drops got to be shaped in such a way that they've got a low spot, and then the air pickup is higher than the bottom of it, so that you can again catch condensate. And what a lot of people make a mistake of is they'll put an air dryer like right after the compressor, and then your line goes after. and it doesn't catch anything because the air is hot,
yeah,
and it's
because
got
that vapor
in.
is in suspension.
Right, it blows right through that filter.
Yeah.
So you got to put that towards the end, right wherever your takeoff is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time learning about that stuff. It was fun.
Cool, man. Right on.
That's a good one.
Thanks. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is kind of general. It would just be more tools.
I'm listening.
Yeah. And I'm in a little bit of a weird spot. I'm fortunate enough to have a decent professional tool set, a couple of them at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got my home set here. And I'm always reaching for the tool that's at the shop when I'm at my house. And when I'm at the shop, I'm going for the tool that's at my house, And personally, I do less and less with hand tools in our shop. I do more things with keyboards and cameras,
right,
and telephones. So I've been contemplating bringing them home and using them here, and just kind of have the Mac Daddy of all this stuff in one spot. But they take up space, and my strategy, again, that pawn shop reference, man, it's a good one. Kelly bought me a Craftsman black. I don't know. It's a three cabinet, roll cab toolbox.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, there you go. It's in the background.
I see it right behind you. Yeah.
That one she got at either a farm auction or an estate sale or something. And I think she paid $75 for it.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was a deal.
Wow. That's a steal.
It was. And I had to re-grease the tracks and clean.
Sure.
It was nasty. I mean, I don't know what was spilled on this thing.
Oh, boy.
But, it was totally worth it. So.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the tools that are in that came from pawn shops where, what I like to do is take pictures of what I have in my drawers in the toolbox.
Okay, yeah.
Take pictures of what's in my drawers. I know what you're thinking. It's not that kind of a show.
That would be bleeped.
Yes. You open the drawer and take a snapshot so that when Kelly and I go out to pawn shops, we tend to kind of make a day of that. They usually have like just buckets of sockets and crates full of wrenches. And I can quickly pull those pictures up and go, oh, yeah, you know what? I need 5 more 10mm sockets.
Yeah.
And then I can fulfill those. So, so I'm going to continue to do that for sure. But maybe someday I'll bring all of it home and have everything I need in one place.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. The toolbox I have, I totally lucked into it. This kid I knew who wanted to become a dealership mechanic bought a really giant Craftsman lower box, and it's about 44 inches wide.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And it's 27 inches deep, and it also doubles as the top of my workbench.
Yeah.
So
that's sweet.
Yeah, and the top drawer is completely full width. So I pull it out, and that's where all my sockets are. And somehow, over the course of my life, I've accumulated a ton of sockets and ratchet wrenches and things like that. And it fits everything nicely, and all the drawers have everything, are able to organize everything nicely in there. So I got really super lucky with this particular toolbox that it really does double duty for me.
That's cool. Yeah. The at the shop I've got some SK boxes, and one of them is about that size, and that's primarily sockets and impact sockets and all that stuff. But it's got a top cabinet as well, that the top flips open.
Sure.
So it doesn't offer that workspace function. It would if I didn't have the top piece.
Right.
But that's nice because it's got everything in one place.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I just saw an ad, I don't know, a couple days ago. I think it's a Mac Tools box. They call theirs the Maximizers. There's a Mac toolbox now that has a motion detector on the front. So when you walk by, the light comes on over your workspace.
Come on.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of our guys have newer stuff than I do, and they've all got USB chargers in them and power ports. And one dude had a fridge.
What?
In the toolbox. Yeah. So like one of the bottom, maybe 3 of the bottom drawers didn't go full width. They went like 75%. And there was like a 12-inch, 3-bay high swing out door that was a lunch fridge. You keep your
lunch.
Yeah, you keep your sandwich in there, maybe
Sandwiches
keep a 6-pack, Yeah, right.
And your soda pop. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right in the toolbox.
That's That's where the stash of Stag beers kept.
Yeah, that could have been too. So I'm lucky enough to I've got a little beverage fridge out here covered already, so I don't need to build one into a toolbox.
No sir.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, that leaves us to number one. All right. My number one garage want, which I think a lot of people would want, is a lift. A lift in my garage. Good gravy. Yeah. I want a lift.
Yeah. I was thinking like a Ferrari 456, but a lift would be awesome too.
A lift would be good too.
No, actually, the lift was my number one as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, but it was just funny the way you set that up. The one thing I'd like to see in my garage, I'm thinking Cadzilla is what I want to see in my garage. And I do have a print of it hanging on the wall. That's a story for another day.
See, I don't even have a print of a Ferrari in my garage. So look at you're already topping me on that one.
So the lifts are, they're challenging because they're big. They're not really that expensive.
Right.
You got to have the ceiling height.
Yeah, that's where I fall short. I couldn't have a full size lift. The ceiling's about, I think, 10 feet maybe, and I think you need a little bit more than that to have a full size lift. So I would be relegated to one of those, like a half lift that kind of slips under the car and lifts it maybe 3 or 4 feet in the air, which would be fine.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be easy to like pull tires off and do brake work that way. You could just sit right at eye level and not be hunched over. So that would be really helpful.
That's really what you need it for, you know. We just, I think we just bought one of those for the shop, but it arrived damaged, so it got sent back. I'm waiting for a replacement one. But I think it's a 48-inch scissor type.
Yeah, exactly.
Air over electric or something. And the safety releases on it. And that's what you're going to use it for. I think we're going to put it in the fabrication shop so the guys can, get cars up in the air if they're working on rocker panels or whatever, if it's not jigged, and fixtured. Or like you're saying, even the detail guys, you pick the car up and you can clean the bottom side.
Yeah. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, and brake work and tire work. And then you'll have your air system right there, so you'll be able to blast the wheels on and off.
Oh, yeah. All day long. All day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Yeah, you're done. I mean, the other cool thing about those is if you're going to put a 2-post lift in, you need, depending on what the lift manufacturer specifies and the rating of the lift, 6 or 8 inches of concrete underneath the foot.
Right.
And most garages don't have that.
Nope.
So you got to cut a core and pour concrete and, all that kind of stuff, which isn't the end of the world.
And all that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
The 4-post lifts, some of those don't even need to be anchored to the ground. Some of those are on wheels. That's crazy looking. A 12,000-pound 4-post drive-on lift that you can just push wherever you want it, hit the locks.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's stable enough to be in a 4-poster. So
yeah, right. They don't care.
Yeah.
The trick that you got to watch out for that everything's level.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Getting into a bind halfway down,
Yeah, that would suck. But so your number one was a lift as well.
Was a lift, yeah. Crazy.
A couple of my honorable mentions are an epoxy coated floor, which I think would be beautiful.
I'm kind of going both ways on that.
Are you?
I've worked in places that have had those that were very nice. In fact, one of the first ones was a U-Coated brand floor that we had at the Hot Rod shop in LA. And we had the Hot Rod logo, Hot Rod TV logo done it.
Cool.
And it was gray with the fleck, in it. And we also put some glass bead in it for traction. And
cool.
It was cool. It almost becomes something you have to keep clean.
I can see that.
Because it looks nice.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, like the minute it's dirty in a spot or if there's a spill or something. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's just something that I don't think people consider. My floor is concrete in here, and it provides enough little different color contrast to where it doesn't really bother me. But again, for whatever reason, maybe I'm getting claustrophobic in my old age. But the other fear is if you make that, too noticeable or too bright of a color, all of a sudden your space appears smaller. So I guess so. I would end up doing an epoxy floor that looks just like concrete. and then here I am.
Right on. Another thing I would want is better power in here, because currently all the outlets and the lights are all on one 15 amp circuit.
Oh,
yeah. So if I have a bright kind of a shop light that's like one of those, almost like a soda bulb kind of a super bright floodlight. If I have that plugged in and on and my compressor kicks on, it'll trip the breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's dark out, that sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely need better circuits, mostly because I also want a welder in that garage. So I'd need 240 in there. And also a heater and AC as well. And I have the heater. My wife got me a heater for Christmas, an electric one that I still have to run some power in and hang that and get that working as well. But but that'd be all that stuff. That'd be the perfect garage.
You're well on your way.
Yeah.
I've fought the power thing. We also have a deep freezer in the garage, storage meat freezer, and that and the air conditioner kicked on at the same time when the compressor was trying to play along, and boom,
no, thank you.
Yeah. No, I've been there too. So, well, that's cool. That's a good list.
Yeah, thanks.
Now I just need some time and money to make it all happen.
Right. That's all we need. Well, we have the time now. We're all quarantined.
Yeah, right. And Sarge did say he'd come over, but it's kind of like your basement. I got to take everything off these shelves to put it in somewhere, and then. But with proper planning, that's certainly possible.
Yeah, it is. It's all possible. It's just a matter of getting myself organized enough to having a plan, to knowing what I want to do with each item, and not get mired down in the minutia of everything.
Right.
And that's where my problem is. I'll see something and I'll like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while, and I'll look at it for 20 minutes, and then what have I done for 20 minutes?
No, you're right, and that happened to me 2 days ago.
Really?
2 days ago, yeah, because in my storage of stuff is old stuff, and I have a lot of old junk in there.
Sure.
And I was on a text chain with some friends of ours, and we were joking about this guy that we all used to hang out with that passed away a few years ago. And for whatever reason, I went out of my garage and I was looking for something else, and I pulled out some photos of this dude.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, I had to scan them all and send them all over to our friends. Or it was, and then I don't even remember what I came out here for in the first place. So you can't open the boxes. You just got to move them around. And,
Yeah.
Sarge said he'd help, so I gotta.
Yeah, I need to borrow him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a nice weekend up here. Get a belly full of Portillos and
That's
do
it.
some organizing.
Yeah. That's just gonna turn into a drinking garage music party.
After the work is done, that's fine.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, I believe we have a trivia question that I got wrong. I know it.
Well, we have a trivia question. Anyway,
I'm not even going to try. So,
all right. So I asked.
Lay
you,
it on me,
Kevin,
Mr. Alex.
Yeah, we got him, Alex. Got him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I asked you, how did the Coyote engine get its name? And the joke answer is because they can't beat a 50-year-old Roadrunner. But
yeah.
But the real answer is the first 4-valve V8 that Ford made in the 60s that was used in A.J. Foyt's race car was his race car was a Coyote chassis.
There you go.
And he won the 77 Indy 500 with that Coyote chassis car. Mm-hmm, so there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, you wouldn't know it unless you knew it.
Correct.
But I do know where there was, anyway, a stack of those Indy 4-valve Ford V8s.
Really?
Oh, yeah. A guy in Southern California, his name is Ermi Hermoso, and he had collected those things.
Wow.
And I was going through this guy's building. I think he had an electric business, and in the back part was his stash of hot rod stuff. And those Indy V8s are insane. The intake and exhaust are reversed, so the exhaust goes right up the top, and the intake comes in from the sides.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, they're awesome, and they're super bad. And yeah, that Coyote race car chassis was the real deal. So
Yeah.
makes sense. So I knew a little bit about it, but
You did. You just didn't know you knew something about it.
I don't know anything. All right. Well, in your case, Mr. Confident over there, the question was an auto part that has one dimension in metric and the other in the SAE standard unit, and you just looked at me and said, it's a tire. And you're right.
Hey, right on, right on. I can't believe that came to me, but it sure did.
Well, I was trying to think the other day. I'm like, why is it a 235 40 17?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Is it just because it's going to be, whatever the equivalent in centimeters would be of 17 inches? It'd be a 3,500 or something. It just wouldn't make sense. So,
I don't know. That's weird.
I don't know.
America is weird when it comes to things like that.
That's global, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is global. Huh.
So in Germany, they're talking about 18-inch wheels.
That doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't. It makes for a good trivia question, but you knew it.
It does. Yeah. I didn't know I knew it, but I knew it.
Yeah.
That's not 2 in a row I've gotten right, is it? Did I get it right last time?
Are you keeping score? I mean, if you are, I think so. I think we both got them right last time. They're kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, we totally did.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. Wow. I finally made it. I'm on my way.
Yeah, still haven't gotten the time to go through and tally up the all-time win count, but we just racked up another one. Good for you.
We got about just about 4 years of shows to go through to do that.
If only somebody was quarantined.
And had time to do that.
Yeah. Man, it's been that long.
If any of our listeners take the time to do that and get us the Excel sheet of wins and losses, Kevin's going to throw you a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
A V8 TV T-shirt.
It'll be a new one.
Still in the wrapper.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. All right. Now that you got our Alex all wound up there about his T-shirt, we're going to have to wrap this one up. But if you enjoyed this episode or any of them, there's a couple places you can find them. And I always feel strange about this because if you've heard this, you can find the show already.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But maybe we'll propose an optional listening source. Between iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and Google Podcasts, the Stitcher Radio app, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser, V8Radio.com. There's another one in there too.
Is there?
That I'm trying to think of. Well, there's a whole bunch of these aggregators that just kind of...
Right, just kind of show up.
Yeah, grab stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll ask for some feedback. Why don't you tell us where you listen? Because I'd be curious to know where people are tuning in from. And one more quick shout out to our friend Jose Montez, who owned that 79 red Formula that we talked about last time.
Right.
Apparently he's listened to our show and enjoys it, and his wife listened to it and she enjoyed it too. So thank you guys.
Right on. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's about all I've got for now.
That's all I got too, man.
All right. Well, keep the shiny side up, and we will talk to you next time right here on VA Radio.